The Seamstress and the Tinker, Chapter 2. Somewhere in Oz, on the side of the yellow brick road, there stood a tall man who waved his long arms about him. He had mysterious blue eyes and hair that swept down over each side of his face, and he wore a vest which tinkered with keys. He held a playing card in one hand, while he waved the other over a pile of cards on a little table. Before him stood two men, one drolly, dour and wide. The other was thin, sour and pale. The two men, droll and dour, looked down at the pile of cards with expectant eyes. "Now then," said the tall man with keys, waving the card about, "I ask again, what card am I holding?" Dour scrunched his pudgy face. "It must be the Queen of Cards. It was on top of the deck, and you took the top card." "Oh no!" cried Droll, who pointed a skeletal finger at the deck. "I saw clearly that the top card was none other than the Ace of Spades." He then pointed up at the card in the tall man's hand. "It's the Ace of Spades." The tall man erased the smile from his face and suddenly looked quite serious. "Are you sure of that?" he asked Droll. Droll nodded. Dour shook his head and said, "I think it's the Queen of Hearts." The tall man with keys became thoughtful. He narrowed one eye, pulled the card back a little, looking at it. "Well, I'll say this much. One of you is right." Droll and Dour thought about this for a good 5 minutes, maybe 6. Finally, after conferring amongst themselves for yet another 5, never taking an eye off the man while they did, they approached the tall man with keys. "Have you decided?" asked the man. "Or shall we say the house is won yet again?" Droll and Dour grinned at each other. "The Queen of Hearts!" they said in unison. The tall man shivered. "Are you sure?" The two men nodded in agreement. "All right then." And the tall man flipped over the card. It was the Ace of Spades. Both Droll and Dour cursed and spit and grumbled. They stomped and shouted and shook their little heads. The tall man gathered his things, folded his little table, and put his cards neatly back into their box, and packed everything away in a black bag. Then he tossed it over his shoulder. "Good day, gentlemen," he said. Droll then said to Dour, "Thanks to you, we've hardly any money left for when we arrive in Oz. How are we supposed to find Megan Le Fay then?" The tall man stopped in his tracks. He turned around coolly, retracing his steps, and stopped in front of Droll and Dour. He bent low, looking them sharply in the eye, one and then the other. "Megan Le Fay, you say?" Droll and Dour nodded, and said in unison, "Yes, the seamstress."